What's up, everybody? How we doing tonight? We are back with another weekly live stream here for you guys on Celtics Digest. If you don't know who I am Bruce Veliz, and in today's weekly live stream, we're going to be going over a plethora of topics. We're going to be going over the game that we just watched versus South Sudan, where we saw three Boston Celtics and Jayson Tatum, Derrick White, and Jrue Holiday take on the likes of them. Then we're going to mention and talk about, the changes that we saw, what changes we could see for next game. We can mention dive deep about Team USA, and then we're going to be discussing and we're going to be talking about the Boston Celtics potentially filling that last roster spot. Now, that last roster spot is available, still currently is at this very moment, and could be picked up by anybody. Could it be used on O'Shea Brissett? Could it be used on a guy throughout the regular season that's on a two-way that gets called up, similar to what we saw last season? We'll be discussing all of that and more on these weekly live streams. We're starting them back up again, and I appreciate everybody that does subscribe, tune out, and does hang out here in the stream. So if you do enjoy it, if you do like the stream, make sure to hit that like button. Make sure to gas that up. Without further ado, let's dive in. Let's kind of get involved. Let's start talking about this Boston Celtics team. If you have any thoughts, have any comments, have any questions, drop them down below in the comment section here, and we'll break it down and talk about it. Love to answer questions, love to get involved, but you guys want to discuss about this Celtics team. But yes, you guys will be able to comment. You guys drop down your thoughts. Let me know how you guys are feeling. But ultimately, today's matchup versus South Sudan was a lot better than the matchup with versus Serbia. Now, the game versus Serbia still was a blowout win, but it was a bit closer than this South Sudan game. And I ultimately think it comes down with the starting lineup. Let's look at that and kind of break that down for you guys. If you guys did miss the game, if you guys did not see, the starting lineup for today's game was Devin Booker, Steph Curry, LeBron James, Jayson Tatum, and Anthony Davis. Now, there were two changes made to the starting lineup in today's contest compared to the last one. Jayson Tatum and Anthony Davis were inserted into those starting lineups for guys in Joel Embiid and Jrue Holiday. Now, the Celtics did not run that three-guard lineup that they did in Game 1. They decided to run with Jayson Tatum, even though it may have not have changed the differences on the box scores. If we look here and kind of look at that, you guys can see Jayson Tatum didn't have the greatest game offensively. Didn't shoot the best, but was making some smart plays and was making the right plays for Team USA. His first possession where he got the ball, he drove right to the rack, and instead of going up on two guys and trying to get a tough contested shot, he made the smart bounce pass down low to Anthony Davis, who swimmingly slotted in right over and got an easy layup off the glass. We then seemingly saw Jayson Tatum make some other brilliant plays, just getting a nice offensive rebound, kicking out to Tyrese Halliburton, getting him that wide open three, and creating opportunities for an abundance of players on this Team USA roster and for other players as well, which is huge. That's what I want to see out of Jayson Tatum. The main concern, I think, from Celtics fans going into this game and from game 1 with Steve Kerr was not due to the fact that Jayson Tatum played 0 minutes, due to the fact that he was an offensive liability, but the fact that Jayson Tatum is a big body. He can play defense, he can play make, he can facilitate. And if his game is not flowing offensively, like we saw in the playoffs, he can still take over and he can still contribute in a mountful of ways that Celtics fans do not see, or box score watchers or Twitter people watchers don't really see. But in my opinion, from getting over this, from kind of understanding this, as Tatum is doing what he did with the Celtics in the playoffs alongside with this USA squad, and it seemingly is working. It's flowing, it's making good progress, and I'm very, very happy that a guy in Jayson Tatum was able to kind of showcase this, be able to harness this, and provide this for his haters and for the people talking smack about him, because he's one of the league's best two-way wings. He's one of the league's best players in this NBA, and he definitely does not deserve a DNP due to a coaching decision. If he was injured, if he had a little bit of a finger tweak, if he was ill, I understand. But due to the fact that he was not he was fully healthy and got zero playing time is absolutely ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It is inexcusable for Steve Kerr, and that's why Steve Kerr legitimately today gave him the starting job. It doesn't make any sense. Oh, he goes benched, but now he gets the starting job. It's like Steve Kerr was, thrusted out and called out by all these haters and was like, oh crap, I actually have to do something. All right, yeah, maybe I should change something. Anyways, for the Embiid fans that were hating on Tatum, guess who got a DNP today? That is right. It is you, Joel Embiid. You're the one that got the DNP, unfortunately. But I'd say okay, because he's already been predicted to start versus Puerto Rico, because the starting lineups have already come out for that game. We're talking about other players from this Boston Celtics team that did contribute for Team USA today. You have to mention the main contributor for tonight's game, and that was Derrick White. He completely balled out. And if you guys are tuning in the stream and did not see the video that we just released, go check that out. Or if you are coming from the video and coming into the stream, what's up? How you guys doing? But we just released a video less than 30 minutes ago breaking down the effects of Derrick White and how impactful he was with this Team USA roster. Now, Derrick White has been getting an abundance of hate from the start of this season. Derrick White was left off the top 100 players from ESPN, and Celtics fans, including myself and Josh, came out here on Celtics Digest and had outrage. We're furious due to the fact of that. Then Derrick White seemingly proved to everybody that he was one of the best players in the NBA, could be a contributor, was a top 100 player, and could even be an all-star with the numbers that he was producing. But players that had higher name value were left off that list. So Derrick White's a role player. How can he be an all-star? That just doesn't make any sense. Well, Derrick White is proving for Team USA and for the people around the world what he truly did for the Boston Celtics. We saw Derrick White be a massive and major contributor for the Celtics on both sides of the ball, and Derrick White has done that seemingly fitting right into this Team USA roster. He plays a similar role with the Celtics that he does for Team USA. He's not the league's best scorer. He's not the best fit in and do the role that he has asked for, and he is best at doing that. He does it for the Celtics, and he's doing it now for Team USA. In Game 1, didn't have the most impact. Played some solid defense, had an opportunity where he scored at the basket, but wasn't electric on the offensive side. Tonight was a completely different story out of Derrick White. This man shot 3 for 3 from three-point range, was absolutely phenomenal in his catch and shoot game, but also made some smart plays as well, giving some nice lobs, playing fantastic on the defensive side, getting a key block, but also getting 3 steals. And one play that I want to talk about specifically when talking about Derrick White is the play that happened when he had the illegal screen set on him from the corner. As we all know, and as we all saw from the replay, that was an illegal screen set on Derrick White. He goes, reaches for the back, seeming like he is hurt, seeming like it is an actual issue, but nothing, no matter without the least, Derrick White is still okay. He plays through the injury, fights through it, and then on the next possession, when Team USA is on defense, after our Team USA is on offense after they miss a shot, South Sudan gets a rebound, starts dribbling up slowly. Derrick White out of nowhere, give me that cookie, I'll take that from you, and forces a turnover. See, when plays like that happen, those are the type of plays that you want your superstar to kind of stand out. You want your X Factor guy to be making those hard-nosed plays. And Derrick White is doing that. He's proving to the world, he's proving to everybody that he is one of these type of players. He can be your second best option, third best option on a playoff team, and still helping contribute, dropping 25 points, playing fantastic defense. And that's the thing. The Celtics Brad Stevens is a god for being able to trade Romeo Langford and Josh Richardson for Derrick White, and seeing that insight and believing in Derrick White is absolutely just huge, because Derrick White, for the Spurs, was a solid role player, but wasn't as impactful as he is with the Boston Celtics. For Brad Stevens to want to see that growth, to see that potential in Derrick White, already gives him a check on my book. 2, Derrick White, coming into the season, knew with Marcus Smart being traded and with Malcolm Brogdon being on the trade block that he was going to be the starting guard before Jrue Holiday came here. So he put his ass to work, working on both sides of the floor, offensively, defensively, really working, really grinding to be that starting guard. And it clearly shows, because when Jrue Holiday came and he was now not deemed the starting point guard, still a starter, but still just a contributor alongside the guys of Brown, Tatum, Porziņģis into that unit, it just meshed so easy for him. He seemingly just fit right in like a glove and transcended both offensively and defensively. And you see with his contract that he signed this season in free agency, he got that extension done before the Olympics came, before all the tampering could come, before everybody could be like, oh, Derrick, you're playing really, really good. Why don't you come play for that on my team? We'll give you $35-40 million. That might be enticing for Derrick White if he's at the Olympics and he's on his last year of his deal entering free agency. But for now, it is not the case. He is locked up long term, and that is key. I think a lot of Celtics fans already know how great Derrick White is, how great of a playmaker is, how great of a shooter is, how much effort he gives on both sides of the floor. And some nights, if he's not cooking on either side of the floor, he is on fire from the opposite. If he's not making his shots, damn near believe Derrick White's got 2 steals and 2 blocks on the defensive side and is making every single play. Or if he's not that great on the defensive side, maybe he only has 1 block or a steal here and there. He's got 6 to 7 3-pointers and just cannot miss. So that's what I'm saying. Derrick White, traditional two-way player, absolutely fantastic on a steal of a contract. And the Boston Celtics are lucky to have a guy like Derrick White that wants to stay and play in Boston on that type of deal because he could command so much more. And I really think the world NBA itself is seeing Derrick White at his best value. A lot of people thought, why is he placing Kawhi Leonard? He doesn't deserve it. He's not that top tier echelon guy. And I'm just loving to see Derrick White perform in these type of games. So fans of the NBA and fans around the world can really truly see how great Derrick White is and realize that he just doesn't do this for Team USA, but he does this for the Boston Celtics. And I ultimately think that's going to rise his stock for Derrick White, which is huge for a player who came from D2, from a player that had to work his way all the way to Colorado to get that D1 job, and then had to work his way to get drafted and all that stuff. You wish nothing but the best of luck for a guy in Derrick White, and just happy to see him reach that potential and to grow to that, especially in Boston. Ultimately, very, very happy with what I've seen from Derrick White, and he is absolutely fantastic. Another player that also played seemingly pretty solid as well for the Boston Celtics today, alongside Derrick White, was also Jrue Holiday. Now, Holiday was a starter in Game 1 versus Serbia in pool play for Team USA in the Olympics, and he was very, very solid as well. Finished with 15 points, was one of the better offensive creators for Team USA in that team, and was also spectacular on the defensive side, one of the things that he was brought to be on this team. Now, Holiday in today's matchup, let's just say, didn't replicate as much of an offensive performance, but still replicated as great as of a defensive performance for this Celtics team. We want to look at Holiday's stats here. We can see obviously he hit 1 3, which was a corner three. Again, cash money. Your boy made 60% of those from the corner three this season for the Boston Celtics, and it just easily translates over with this Team USA squad and just finding him wide open in the corner. But he also does fantastic on playmaking, getting steals, getting blocks, helping contribute on both sides of the ball. And like I mentioned, that's what he was brought to this team to do. A lot of people questioned, oh, why is Jrue Holiday there? He's not uberly offensively talented. He's not absolutely fantastic. He's no Kyrie Irving. Why is he on the squad? And it's for reasons like this. Derrick White, Jrue Holiday are looked at as those primary defenders, those guys who are going to go to work, those guys who are going to match up everybody. And Jrue Holiday, when he was starting versus Serbia, could play guards that were 6'2", could play wings that are 6'8". We saw that with this Boston Celtics team as well. Ultimately, Holiday and White have been absolutely fantastic for this Boston Celtics team from what I've seen, from what I've liked out of this squad. And truly, they have been working towards that potential and really, really doing it solid for Team USA as well. I just love to see them playing at their best performance on peak level for the whole world to see. It only helps them, it only betters their name, and it only provides best things for the US if they win a gold medal. All USA is happy. Everyone, the fans are happy, the players are happy, and ultimately it gives these guys connections, bonds, and memories worth a lifetime that they definitely deserve. Holiday, maybe not the greatest offensive game today because he came off the bench, didn't start, had a better impact in game 1, but ultimately still played solid here. Tatum got some action, not the greatest offensively again, but did help out with some intangibles like he did in the playoffs. Was a great playmaker today, was a great rebounder, helping get this team set up. And ultimately, with him being out of rhythm in game 1, maybe in game 3 we'll get to see him feel a little bit more comfortable and get his jump shot into rhythm. And then lastly, a guy in Derrick White, who was, in my opinion, the best player for the Boston Celtics today for Team USA. Shout out to shout out to Derrick White. Really, really stepped up and proving everybody wrong. Like I said, if you guys missed the video, if you guys want to check that out, go ahead and check that out as well, because that is actually a pretty amazing thing there. What's up, Live Gun? How we doing? We are lucky to have Jrue and Derrick White on this team. Exactly. I totally agree. I really, really like the fact that we were able to have both of these guys, especially on long-term deals. Like, that's even the better part about this as a Boston Celtics fan, is that this is not going away. Like, Derrick White was entering free agency next year. Guess what? He's locked up for another 4 years. He isn't going anywhere. Jrue Holiday, he's locked up for 4 years. He's not going anywhere. Porzingis is only locked up for 2 more years this season and one more including. So that's where you can kind of be like, all right, maybe Porzingis is the one that's going to be out at first, possibly. But who knows? They could reinstate Kristaps Porziņģis, bring him on an extension, maybe with some of his injury history the last couple of seasons. It can be a team-friendly deal, a contract that's going to be working for the team, but also working for Kristaps Porziņģis to be like, hey, we still want you to be here. We know you want to be part of this team, but we have seen you have some injury history. So necessarily, we don't know if we want to give you $30 million. Can we give you 18 to 20, and can we work something out? You take a team-friendly discount. We make sure that you're here long term. We won't trade you. It's even though it looks like a tradable contract, we won't trade you regardless. I think that's a deal that they can work out, Brad Stevens and Kristaps Porziņģis, and I think that's something very, very beneficial for both parties. For this Kristaps Porziņģis to remain in Boston, push for a championship, be happy, with also the Celtics still getting to retain their center, not lose him for absolutely nothing, and still be able to rehab him, work him, and still get the best out of him, because ultimately this Celtics team is prime and ready to go to push for more championships, to push for Banner 19, to push for Banner 20, to be ready to go. Ultimately, very, very excited from what I saw from the Olympics showing. And next, we're going to be diving in and talking about the next topic at hand, which is a potential final roster spot options. Now, this is a little bit of a hypothetical kind of going over. And if you're watching this on a replay, I really do appreciate it. Not really many people popping into the stream tonight, but like I mentioned, these streams are going to be weekly. If you're one of the 4 people that are in the stream that are chilling here, these are going to start coming back weekly. We had these weekly streams a couple weeks ago. I went on vacation. I kind of slacked on them, but we're back now. Every Wednesday night from 6 to 7 o'clock, we will be live here on Celtics Digest. Maybe not for an hour tonight because there's not enough people here, but for at least an hour going over Celtics news, Celtics rumors, and everything revolving around this team. So if you want to stay updated, if you want to make sure you stay in tune to everything Celtics related, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, make sure to stay up to date on everything revolving around the Boston Celtics. You can also check the links in our description to our Discord, where you can interact with Celtics fans and like a Celtics Reddit, or interact with other NBA fan bases as well, by also following us on Twitter at Celtics Digest YT to get my info on Boston Celtics stuff that I don't post, and also my stuff on the NBA around the league. But like I mentioned, Celtics' final roster spot is a big question mark, and one that a lot of Celtics fans have been kind of teetering and kind of talking about over the last couple of days. So it's something that I kind of want to break down and talk about here, because we haven't heard much about free agency. A lot of people are getting, a little antsy here on the free agency front due to the fact of the new CBA. There's a lot of free agents that, I'm telling you right now, should not be free agents or are taking veteran minimum deals because they have to. Guys like Tyus Jones, guys like Gary Trent, even a guy like Precious Achiuwa coming back on a 1-year, $6 million deal. Those 3 guys should be getting more money in a bigger market. So hopefully for them and for the NBA, we get to see that. Obviously, with the new CBA kind of developing and moving, we'll see how that goes. But ultimately, the Celtics do have one open roster spot now. The Celtics were able to retain basically everybody that they had last season. They brought back Neemias Queta on a long-term deal. They brought back a guy in Luke Cornett, who did turn down more money out on the market, confirmed by Noah Dalzell in her latest podcast. If you guys missed that, definitely check that out. But she said that Luke Cornett did turn down more money to go to back to the Boston Celtics, which is huge. A guy in Xavier Tillman, I presume as well, either turned down more money or a bigger role to come back to this Boston Celtics squad as well, to kind of seemingly fit in, because he went back on a veteran minimum contract. And that's been it. Unfortunately for the Boston Celtics, there are 2 guys that they did have on that they did not bring back that are still free agents, are Oshae Brissett and Svi Mykhailiuk. Now, Svi Mykhailiuk, I believe, role was replaced due to I think he was a solid shooter off the bench, but never really could grow into that, bench lineup for the Boston Celtics on this contending team. Maybe on a little bit of a worse team, he could grow to be one of those better players. Maybe he could grow to be one of those better players for this team in the future, but ultimately, I I don't think so, and I don't know if he's going to get that role. He might get that role. Suma Haluk might get that role on a team that is at the bottom of an NBA, like maybe like a Hornets or maybe a Blazers or something like that. But on this Boston Celtics team, I don't think he's going to get it. I think Shireman is a little bit of a tweener in between a Sam Hauser and a Peyton Pritchard. He has that ball. He has that playmaking ability. Has that ball creator ability with the ball in his hands to play like Peyton Pritchard and create his own shots. But he also, like Sam Hauser, has that length. He is 6'8". He can get rebounds. I think he'll be able to guard guys that are a little bit bigger than Peyton Pritchard, guys that are bigger than Svi Mykhailiuk. And I seemingly think that was the problem with Svi fitting into this rotation. Svi, a guy who is a shooting guard, plays the 2 position, could not step up and guard guys for like Sam Hauser. So if Sam Hauser was having a bad shooting night, Celtics didn't really have that, bench guy to kind of fill in that wing spot. They kind of had to seemingly roll with Sam Hauser. Ultimately, with this Celtics team having Baylor Shireman, having guys like Peyton Pritchard and Sam Hauser, they can do that. I don't know if they're going to be able to reach that, but I'm hoping that they will be able to. Baylor Shireman is a guy that I truly believe in. He's a guy that I think can work his way into this rotation, and even though he might not get it right away, I think in the future he can. So unfortunately, he replaces Svi Mykhailiuk. O'Shea Brissett is the last guy who I think could be a guy that could come back if the Celtics want him back, and I think that is the case that they would like to bring him back. Ultimately, though, I think Brissett wants more money or more playing time. Ultimately, I think that's the case. Like, I think that O'Shea Brissett is a guy who can play that 3 position, can play that 4 position, can play that small ball 5 position as well. I think that he could be a guy that can develop and could be a little bit of a tweener wing, kind of playing those, diverse in those lineups diversely as a 3, as a 4, or as a 5. He brings a lot of energy on the offensive rebounding. He brings a lot of effort into everything with this Celtics team, and I'm very, very happy to see O'Shea Brissett get his groove and get his role. He's a guy that worked up through the G League, through the Toronto G League, the 985, worked through the Indiana G League, and finally found a role for the Celtics. Ultimately, I think he wants a bigger role, some more money, and I think teams would offer it to him if they had the opportunity to. But with the new CBA, they physically can't. Therefore, he'd have to take a veteran minimum contract. I ultimately think that outweighs his decision. He's currently thinking, do I want to take a veteran minimum somewhere else? Do I want to bet on myself? Do I want to go over Europe? Do I want to go overseas? Or do I want to come back to the Celtics team? Ultimately, he could want to come back to the Celtics team, but there just is no time. There just is no spot. There just is nothing that he can do. So I don't know personally what a guy like O'Shea Brissett is going to do, but hopefully a guy like O'Shea Brissett will make the smart decision. Now, regardless if that's with the Celtics or with not, we'll have to wait and see. But I think that O'Shea Brissett at this very moment, I would say, is gone from this Boston Celtics team. And I think that this last roster spot is going to be for somebody else. Now, there are some potential ways that the Celtics could go into this final roster spot, like I mentioned. There's the possibility of them leaving it open, saying, we have 14 guys. We did this last season where we had 14 guys for a majority of the year. They didn't bring up Neemias Queta like the last day they physically could on his 10-day, on his 2-way contract. They basically held it out to the last possible day. So I think they're similarly going to do that something here. I think they're going to bring 3 guys in on a 2-way deal. They already have Springer. They already have J.D. Davidson. Or, excuse me, not Springer. They already have Davidson. They already have Peterson. They still have 1 2-way spot open. I think a guy like Anton Watson can earn that last 2-way roster spot. Maybe Jamias Ramsey. Or maybe both of those guys will be playing on the main Celtics just in general. But I think one of those guys will be able to earn that last 2-way spot. And then ultimately, I think the Celtics will leave that last roster spot open. I mean, it depends if they want to get involved in a trade, be that third team to take a contract back to waive off, if they want to just have that roster flexibility just to begin with. If a trade does happen during the season and they want to get a guy via buyout market, they can, or they can basically have the last laugh in free agency, looking at all the guys that are remaining and saying, hey, we'll just offer one of these guys a veteran minimum contract that's worth more than a veteran minimum contract. He'll come, he'll play, and he'll help us out push. Ultimately, I think the move that the Celtics are going to do is that they're going to go after Anton Watson. I think Anton Watson is the player who looked best in the summer league. He looked, like he had the fundamentals, like he was ready to go, like he was ready to contribute for this roster, for this Celtics team. And I think he can make an impact. Maybe not right away, but as a two-way guy, he brings a lot of upside. He's not going to be a player that's going to play on this team this season, but I do think in the future, Watson does bring that upside, and he could be converted into that final two-way, from that final two-way contract to that last standardized contract at the end of the season, similar to how we saw with Kada. Now, ultimately, there are a lot of question marks. There are a lot of, there's a lot of things with this team that we don't know are for certain, and I think that this is one of the biggest concerns. But ultimately, I trust Brad Stevens and what he does. Ultimately, I want to say thank you guys for tuning into the stream. It was a little bit of a shorter for this weekly one, but I just wanted to kind of get my thoughts, get it back up here, and get your kind of thoughts down below. So once again, I appreciate everyone who turned into this weekly live stream. They are going to be weekly. We are going to be having them back. They will be longer than what they are today. It's just not a lot of people are in here. I don't really have that much to talk. And the last part of the thing was to answer questions. And with 4 people in here, it doesn't look like we're going to be getting many questions. So I will be letting you guys go. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this stream. I really do appreciate it.